Welcome, and thank you for tuning in to the American Investor Show. Please click subscribe if this is your first time listening. From trader and CEO interviews to breaking news about companies you won't hear anywhere else, nobody does a better job at keeping you in the know when it comes to penny stocks. The term penny stock generally refers to a security issued by a very small company that trades at less than $5 per share. Penny stocks are extremely risky, yet they offer rates of return on investment not seen anywhere else. The host, guest, and callers are not registered financial advisors licensed by any government entity, and therefore, the following should be considered entertainment. The host, guest, and callers disclaim all liability in the event any information, commentary, analysis, opinions, advice, and/or recommendations prove to be inaccurate, incomplete, or unreliable, or result in any investment losses. Before investing in penny stocks, you should consult a professional to determine what strategy may be best for your individual needs. Now, without further ado, your host, LaSalle Anungu.
Yes. What's going on, everybody? Your boy Sal in the building right now. Shout out to everybody joining me in the chat room right now, slowly coming into the building. I know it's an impromptu show. Appreciate all the people who are watching me right now. Shout out to Jeremy B. What's going on, Kenny Dutton, Austin Gray, Patrice Jameson. Appreciate you guys joining me in the building right now. I got to give people more heads up on these little impromptu. Well, it wouldn't be impromptu if I gave people heads up, but shout out to the people in the room right now. I want to let people slowly come in, but let's jump right into it, man. I want to know what you guys are looking at coming into this week. Coming into this week is going to be really interesting to see what happens now that we are above all-time highs. We're not having any trouble. People are saying we're having trouble here above 300. We're not having any trouble above 300. We're not having any trouble here. It was very, very clear that that's what the market wanted, and the market got it. And I saw a really interesting chart on CNBC, as well as from other traders on Twitter, where they made a very good case about the potential that we could see the market run for another 2 years. With the debt ceiling going to be lifted here soon, in probably next 2 months, 3 months, from what I've read on the internet, and you can just Google increasing debt ceiling. That should be done by October. So now that debt ceiling will be increased, why not the market look at the case, for markets to continue to go higher? If the government's willing to spend more money, then why not let the companies take on more debt? Right? So the case is very, very strong for that. Does the data support that kind of behavior? Absolutely not. But, again, last quarter, we saw how ugly the data was coming in terms of the earnings reports, and investors, like many of you who are watching today, completely shrugged it off. It's like you didn't care about the fact that macroeconomic growth was slowing, and growth for the most part is slowing in the United States. Now, it was really interesting because this recent PMI report did show a slight increase in manufacturing, which was really weird because we were all expecting a very low number, and then it came out basically at expectation. All right, and you got some articles on Zero Hedge and some of the other websites that are saying, well, was it made up or what? I don't know about all that, but I do know that the numbers aren't looking so pretty. We've already had Citigroup come out and say that their number is going to look so hot tomorrow. They're going to be leading us out the gate here for earnings. Earnings season starts tomorrow. If you follow me on Twitter, then you've already already basically, been introduced to some what I think are going to be some interesting surefire losers, but also some interesting winners. All right, some interesting winners, and Facebook is going to be one of them. Contrary to all the hate that we've seen regarding Facebook is going to be a really nice stock that we're going to follow. All right, Facebook is going to be a really, really nice stock, and it's going to win for you over the next couple of days and into the earnings season. So I would definitely take a look at, if you're looking to take a position, Facebook seems to be one that's really, really hot right now. We had a 500% option winner on Facebook on Friday. Those of you guys who are joining us in the Black Box Stocks room, we had a 500% winner. Ryan, you said you got puts in Facebook. That's interesting. So, it's going to be interesting to see. It's going to be interesting to see. For those of you guys who haven't watched my video yet, who have Black Box, the 50% strategy, it's a surefire winner. It's a surefire winner. It took me off of being, besides the 25-10 strategy, but took me off from being a slave to YouTube to being someone who can come in, on YouTube, when he feels like it. Because that's, at the end of the day, that's what, we want to do. I don't care what any YouTuber says. Eventually you want to be able to do it when you feel like it, and not because you have to. All right. So, and in order to do that, you've got to find a strategy that gives you an edge, right? That gives you an edge above the market, and identifying, ways to generate, 30, 40, 50, 60%, well, 450, whatever that is, or 400 or 350% return on a trade. That you really can't ask for a better edge than that. You really can't ask for a better edge than that. So watch my videos. Every video that I put out, it's always to, in my opinion, make you better. Whatever knowledge I get, I try to put out there to make people better. I don't ask anybody to really buy anything. A lot of people have a course. I've never created one. This has really been something that's more or less a maturation of my trading knowledge over the course of years. So I know many of you guys have appreciated that. All right. So I'm going to sprinkle in some of the tickers that I want to talk about in between what you guys are going to talk about. So throw some at me. Again, I know this. I didn't let anybody know it was coming on tonight. I didn't really give anybody a heads up or anything like that. So it's really impromptu. But I appreciate all of you guys who are joining me, because I want to see what you guys are trading this week, man. These last 2 weeks really have been quite boring, right? I mean, would you agree with me? It's been pretty boring. What's going on, Ryan Gitzer, Kenny Dutton, all the people in the chat room? Appreciate all of you guys watching. All right. David Lincoln. What's going on, David Lincoln? I see David Lincoln, 3 hooks. Mr. Cool Millie, Law 150. Yes, indeed. Miss Patrice Jameson, shout out to you. Is that a new picture? God damn. Look fine as hell. 3 hooks. Yes, indeed. Poker Pro. The Me Marine, Jeff Thayer. What's going on? So let's take a look at it. F-Cell, as you can see here on the screen right now, I mean, it's been quite a loser. But obviously something's going on here. So, this is definitely something you would, take a trade in and see. Obviously, you want to keep your risk small here, but this could very well be a change in sentiment here. Are the sellers in fact gone? But obviously, we're seeing here huge RSI break here going back to February of 2019, or just a couple months ago. But let's see how long you can stay above that 50 RSI level. That's really where the magic happens. 60 is preferably where you'd want to be above, because again, that strategy I talked about when we talked about the RSI, where resistance for stocks that are very bearish is the 60 RSI. The inability to break above the 60 is a very, very bad sign for stocks that have been consistently bearish over a long period of time. And they actually turn out to be really, really great areas for you to take short positions in stocks that are unable to break above those levels. All right. Home Depot is an interesting trade, man. Home Depot, Home Depot is really, really interesting because this is a stock that's in a lot of ETFs. This is a stock that has a lot of passive income coming into it all the time, right? It's really hard to bet against this. Yes, last quarter, I read the report, same store sales growth, low single digits. Home Depot is a very mature company. Like McDonald's, you expect single sales growth to be, hovering around 4.5%, 3.5%. But this was in the low twos, right? So sales has been slowing for Home Depot, but and overall housing has been slowing down. Basically statewide. Nationwide rather. So, but we're still seeing Home Depot, move higher. All right, move higher. Why? Because you still have a lot of liquidity, in the sector, in the market. You're still having a lot of people who are now looking to purchase a new home with the recent cuts in rates. So you got a lot of people refinancing. You got a lot of people going to use that money to make improvements. And you still have certain parts of the country that still have opportunities for people to, go into relatively poor places, fix them up, and sell for profit. So you still have hot markets in certain areas. It's slowing down, right? It's slowing down, but it's still there. It's still there. All right. What's going on, Roger Gray? So Home Depot, surefire winner right now, man. Surefire winner. Again, you want to say, hey, can we stay between the 60-20? And you're far away out it. So this is very bullish for where you see Home Depot is right now. Again, a bearish chart stays between 20 and 60 RSI. This is clearly not doing that. And as you can see here, it's been a winner for anyone who's been in the stock long term. Yes, indeed. All right. Let's take a look at JPM. JP Morgan Chase. This is another stock, earnings coming up relatively soon. In fact, let me get my earnings whisper calendar out. All right. I know, many of you guys don't play the earnings, but it's really good to know when they come out, because if it's a beat or, a huge miss, you can jump onto that new trend that tends to get created after an earnings report. We've seen for small companies or even, your unicorns, when they, unexpectedly beat the street, then we know that could be a gap up and then 4, 5, 6, 7 days of just straight out of Pluto, So that's an opportunity for you to take a short-term trade for the upside. All right. Yes. See, tomorrow Citigroup is opening up. Absolutely. Citigroup tomorrow. And that's going to really set the tone. It's going to really set the tone for financials. Look out for China news this week, because they don't really have much to talk about. We really kind of are now past the whole Fed conversation. For the last 2.5 weeks, it was Fed. Now, we had the meeting. He spoke, and now there's really that kind of hole for the next 2.5, 3 weeks, to what supposedly the cut should happen later on this month. But if we continue to go higher, can they still justify a cut? Can they still justify a cut if we continue to go higher? If it's, July 28th, 29th, right? If we're, here Tuesday the 30th, and we're at, SPY, 315, 316, can they still justify the cut? But I don't think, honestly, these people care. They're just going to get their cut, and it is what it is. It is what it is. The key has been, and the winners have stayed long. All right. And if you've done that, you've been very, very, very successful, regardless of the fact that we've had, a couple more losing weeks than usual, right? And it has been pretty consistent than it was coming into 2019, all right? So the bulls are still in control for the most part, all right? As you can see, very strong last 2 months, very strong moves higher. But obviously they are running into a lot more, resistance than usual. All right, definitely a lot more than beginning of and late 2017. Yes, indeed. All right, somebody bringing up BHC. And how long are you guys holding these? I want to know how long you guys are holding these. BHC. Kenny Dutton, let me know what you're interested in. A couple of shares of Amazon as well. BHC looks like a real sleeper. Kind of tired, though, my man. Kind of tired looking on this weekly chart. Volume is actually relatively strong. Bausch Health Companies. Need to know a little bit more about the stock. Somebody brought up Shake Shack, Master Show Enough. That's been a stock that's bit me in my ass before. Shake Shack, this reminds me a lot of Beyond Meat. Very low float. I want to say less than 4 million out there. Beyond Meat is kind of one of those two where, the valuation is pretty sketchy, but the volume of shares available is so low that a day or two against you, and you could be, 6-7% away from your strike price. All right, going in the other way if you're not careful. On what trade, Henri? Siri calls. Okay, we're gonna look at that. GameStop. I think it's a wrap on GameStop. There's not much more meat left on that when we talk about GameStop. But just to finish it up with Shake Shack, yeah, man. I mean, you're a huge winner right now on Shake Shack. The weekly, the monthly is continuing to show. Look at that strong. Look at that month after month after month. You even if you don't want to buy calls here, you can take time and use it in your benefit and sell puts, right? Sell puts here for cash money. As you can see, you've been winning month after month after month after month in Shake Shack. So you can look at a chart like this and use a conservative option strategy, right? If you don't want to guess, or hang on to a nice call option and let the stock do its thing, because it's been a monster winner day in and day out for you. Yes, indeed. Casey Lewis. All right, you guys are bringing in some good tickers today. Look at that. INTC, Intel. Not sure what caused the gap down here. More than likely probably earnings, but nice bump today, or Friday anyway. Well, everybody was up Friday. Friday was a nice day for a lot of people. Friday was up for a lot of people. You had really interesting because you had Facebook with the $5 billion fine from France. France instituting a tax, a technology tax, which is ridiculous. Europe is dead in terms of technological innovation. Europe, for the most part, it's a wrap. These people have lost their minds, with their little taxes on websites and things. At this point, they're just desperate for money, because many of those countries are running or will be running massive deficits over the next 20, 25 years. So they're just desperate for the most part. If you understand, what's going to be happening in Europe over the next, 5, 10, 15, 20 years, where literally 300 million people are going to then become pensioners and start being the most incredible burden to their national wealth system I think this world has ever seen. So they need every dollar they can get. And that's why, again, we had that conversation on the last show about all the immigrants that they're bringing in there, pretending like, oh, my God, there's an invasion. They're coming. No, they need those young workers. They need them. They're just trying to play it off like they don't. What's going on, Money Green? All right. But, going back to Intel here, look, we still have the China situation going on. Again, look out for news with that this week, because again, this administration will put out anything to keep investor sentiment high regarding the markets, irregardless of the horrible data that's been coming out. So look out for some China news, and I think Intel could be, of course, a beneficiary of that kind of news, because we also saw a similar move in FedEx. All right, you saw the move in FedEx. FedEx is a ticker I brought on the last show, and I said FedEx would be an awesome trade for someone here. And sure enough, FedEx finding some interesting support here with the higher lows, right? And now this could be very much the beginning of a nice trade higher. Yes, Asia, the Asian side of the business has slowed, but has the sell-off been justified for a company that truly is one of the American standards out there? What's going on? Let me see here. He said Savvy Strats. This is hilarious. Come on. Yeah. See all in the chat room and everything. Bigger KH. That's ain't losing money. They losing the plug for years. Yes, indeed. INTC entry at 50.01 with a stop of $1.45. Price target of 53.03. Okay. And this is just naked options. Anyone in here doing any iron condors? Yes, indeed, Dawson. Been a minute, bro. Anyone doing any iron condors? The naked options are cool, but the Theta burn, man. The Theta burn is just, oh my God. It can be a killer sometimes when you buy a call option and the stock doesn't go anywhere for 2 or 3 days. And it's a pain in the ass, to watch that red grow in your account. And what iron condors can do, particularly on a stock that's, has very low volatility, it can give you the opportunity to win because you are betting on a range that the stock will be in. All right. And that in itself introduces other new types of risk. And it does cap your return, but at the same time, the probability of victory, can be put on your side with the right trade. All right. Ryan gets it 35 days plus on options. And what do you think about it so far? Oh, no doubt about it, Mag. No doubt about it. Mr. Trump will be reelected. I have no doubt about that. No doubt about that. No doubt about that. RGSE, Real Goods, Solar. Okay, penny stock, 28 cents. You're going to have to let me know what the excitement is here, although the chart's looking healthy, man. It's got some very nice support here as it finds its way crawling over the 50 RSI here. And let's see if traders continue to buy and hold on to their shares. A lot of things about these tickers at the OTC is that the hands tend to be very, very weak. Hands tend to be very, very weak when either news sours or sentiment sours. It's an instant just dump. And we saw it in a stock that I really like around here, and in Pred. I mean, I know most of us, I didn't push Pred this second go around. In fact, I had people come to me and I told you guys here on the show, they offered me like $3,500 to make a Pred video. And I wasn't feeling it, man. I looked at the chart and I just said, there was something fishy about, this new push. There wasn't really much news, and it just didn't feel, there was an air of desperation that I felt when they came to me about it. So I decided to skip out on it. And look, $3,500 for 2 minutes, that's good money, for 2 minutes of work. But I just wasn't feeling it, man. And I'm glad I didn't do it. Can you imagine if a week ago or 2 weeks ago I made a Pred video and this happened? I mean, some of you guys would have my neck, But I've always had a really good sense of people's intentions, and I'm glad I didn't jump into that. All right. Let's keep it going. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed, man. Absolutely, Dawson. All right. Let's keep it going. NLST. And I'm actually surprised. Like I said, I just kind of popped up, so I really appreciate y'all, man. NLST, 40%. 40% gain out of nowhere. As you can see here, look at that. It was barely any volume in this. This wasn't doing anything, and all of a sudden just came to life. All right. Find out who's pushing the pump and why they're pushing it. Let's see if it can be something. We'd love to talk about it if we get 2-3 more days out of that. All right. Yeah, Kelly, Rob. Yeah. I mean, that's what happens when, the whales jump out. That's what happens when the whales jump out, man. And that's what happens with too many OTC stocks. And I'm still waiting for that to happen in another ticker called PTOTF, which I've been shitting on for the last 2.5 years. And but that'll happen eventually. Shout out to Snap. Snap has been a really interesting turnaround, right? I mean, the stock has done absolute wonders, up 300% since January. And I mean, I got to give this, stock a round of applause. You got to, because when you get marked for death, and then you make a turnaround like that, I mean, it's just, you got to be praised. You got to be praised. And here's Snap on the weekly. Here's Snap on the weekly chart, so you can just visualize here that turnaround and Snap. And again, that yellow line is my 25 moving average. And as you can see here, that just really, that explosion above that 50 RSI line. And Snap doing so well. So well. So well. All right. And it's really interesting because I don't see Snap becoming more popular than it was back then, but it's just been able to figure out how to, to grow its user base again, and, to get people to stay on the platform longer. As I look through some of these articles here, we're seeing writers, talking about that. So Snap is doing some good job, doing a good job. Alex, you say you actually want to short them? Okay. I don't see the justification yet on the chart. If anything, as we look on the weekly, or if we pull up the monthly chart, I can see this is just the beginning of what could be another successful month for them. All right, this could be just the beginning. But just imagine that, man. Imagine Snap. Again, this was a stock that we saw and we talked about on this show how, things just weren't going right for Snap at all. What a turnaround. What a turnaround. Let me see here. New version. No, not yet. No, I didn't even pull it up yet. Hold on. I didn't even turn on my phone yet. Oh, there it is. Here's come. So give me a bit. Would I buy ICE? And by the way, I'm so sad to hear about what's going on in Louisiana. So anybody who's got family there, definitely hope that things improve for them. I mean, it's just horrible what I'm hearing about what's going on in Louisiana. Some of those pictures coming out of Louisiana, too. Absolutely horrible. Now, after it's all said and done, we're going to jump on that waste management. because that FEMA money is good money. You know what I mean? FEMA money is good money. You can look at every hurricane, whether it be Harvey or going back to Katrina, you can look at the chart for, those plays like Waste Management. And that FEMA money was very, very good for those companies. Intercontinental Exchange, I got to find out what exactly type of company is this. Boy, look at that. Here's the weekly on ICE. That's been a monster. It looks like Visa or MasterCard right now, man. These financial institutions that are void of having a, physical presence in terms of with a face-to-face, and having actual like institutions where people go. I mean, they've been running hard, right? The Squares of the world, PayPal's of the world, Visa, MasterCard, these companies that are in these sectors that just don't have, that footprint that banks do when it comes to your small or medium-sized businesses. They just been running really, really hard. All right. So give me a call now, Poker Pro, if you want to. Again, that 305-760 line. RSI is oversold. Momentum is actually slowing down. Okay. Yes, indeed. I think he was talking about Snap. Where is the market going next year? Man, you tell me, Adrian T. You tell me. I've been wrong for the most part of 2019, but I've got to respect my moving average. And it's so hard to stick with a system that, it works, right? My system, my 25-10 system works, but it's just so hard to stay it because the data is not fitting what we're seeing on the chart. It's not fitting what we're seeing on the chart, but you got to continue to stay long. It's not fitting what we're seeing in earnings reports, but we got to stay long, because that's just what we got to do. Because again, we can take bets against this market, but then you're just getting your ass handed to you week after week after week. Who wants that? Who wants that? I don't want to be long this market at all, but at the same time, I want to make money. I want to make money. You need BitConnect to come back so you can make. Hey, I mean, look, crypto's doing what it's doing. We do need a bit. I'm surprised they haven't brought back a BitConnect type of system. I'm surprised a BitConnect type or a fake version or copycat hasn't showed up. Maybe I'm just not into, that part of the business like I was when it first came out. I think there was a little bit more excitement about Bitcoin the first go around. Is it just me, or does it seem tepid this time? I think people still are hyped, but it's a cautious hype this time. Shout out to the person who brought up gold. Gold is just doing incredible right now, man. These last couple of weeks, obviously with the cuts being announced by the Fed has not done the kind of damage to gold that we thought we would see, as we're still seeing quite a few buyers continuing to buy these levels. And although gold has been, again, tepid here at these highs, it's still, held pretty well. It's still held pretty well. Here's the daily chart. It's going to be interesting to see in these next couple of days how traders look at gold. And again, we've been on some interesting RSI levels, right, on the weekly. Here's the weekly chart. So, the stock's been hot, all right, or the commodity has been hot. So it's righteous for a cool down, but it hasn't been an aggressive one. It hasn't been an aggressive one. Yeah, press like if you're watching this right now. I'd appreciate you if you press like. Press like on this video right now. Definitely appreciate that. All right. So when somebody told me, guess about what Adrian said, guess where, 2019, 2020 is going to be, I have no doubt when I started the video and I talked about how, we could run for another 2 years. We could run for another 2 years. This is the most hated bull market America has ever seen. The most hated, period. Everybody hates this bull market, man. You know it. Everybody hates it. All right. Income inequality is at levels we've never seen before because of this market. All right. For the most part, Americans have a paltry amount of ownership when it comes to stocks. We know that over 80% of the stock market is owned by the top 20% of Americans. So the higher and higher it goes, the wider and wider and wider the income inequality grows in this country. So as we continue to go higher, it hurts us in the long run. All right, it hurts us in the long run. What I think about Facebook releasing their own Bitcoin, as you can see, look at the jealousy that's rising. Right, we had some of the Democrats come out and, oh my God, blah 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 blah. But you got to understand, when you create your own currency, and now you're going to be, taking U.S. money and having that, be used to buy products all across the world, including to other people here in the States, right? Now you open yourself up to massive amounts of regulation. I don't know. I just felt like this isn't what Facebook needed to do right now. But, as a business, you got to create excitement about new things and, constantly come up with new ideas to grow your business. But I don't know if this is what Facebook should have been doing. But at the same time, it also speaks to how, Bitcoin in itself is just, if you can just come out and create a new coin just like that, I don't know if you can call Bitcoin, a real, what's the word they call it? Kind of like gold, where you can, a store of wealth. I don't think you can call it that if you can just create it so easily. And again, Facebook has now 6 billion people that they can put on this cryptocurrency. 6 billion potential people. And again, I know, you got the fake accounts and all that stuff like that. But still, billions of people who could use this coin. What happens to Bitcoin? What happens to Ethereum and all these other, shit coins out there? All right, let's keep it going, man. Kara, monthly chart. Boy, this is sloppy. Sloppy. But the last, again, here's 7 months, one losing month out of 7, not bad. Not bad for Kara. Again, staying away from just looking at it on a daily. Obviously, you had a Monster Friday, but, forget about the Monster Friday. Look what you've had over the last several months in Kara. And, if you've held it and been patient, you've had an awesome 2019, coming out of those low 13s and now at $24 a share. I don't know if it's got liquid options, but you've been a monster winner at those levels because, at $13, $14, I know those options are literally pennies. Literally pennies. Shanghai futures market down. Market could reflect on us. Yeah, it could. But again, we've had a lot of days here where we go into the open, 4 a.m., 5 a.m., and all of a sudden, as we get into 6, 7, 8 o'clock hour, all of a sudden we're up, 60 points going into the open on the futures. So, when we're at 1 point, 2 points, 3 points sideways like that, just wait for the open. Absolutely. Gold is doing amazing, Alex. And that's why I think, if you just don't know what the hell you're doing in the stock market, some good old GLD is probably where you want to be. All right. Carrie Lewis, you're in Louisiana? Okay, what part of Louisiana are you in? He brought up gas. Natural gas is being shitted on, man. Do I have anybody in here who's in the natural gas business? What's going on with natural gas in this country? What is going on with natural gas? I can't find a good article to really tell me what's going on with natural gas. I mean, is it just that we just have so much of it in our country? Or what? But, boy, this thing has been a disaster. Yeah, joke's on you if you think natural gas is going anywhere, because that thing has been horrible. Here's natural gas on the monthly chart. I mean, just a disastrous 2019. Interesting month starting here. Who knows? All right. The wintertime natural gas goes up. Okay. But the bull market is good for the economy. How is the? I want to know how the bull market is good for the economy. Let's take a look. What other tickers you guys are talking about here? CMCSA. GD. Yeah, we haven't seen gold really. God damn. Finally. Okay, so you finally got a penny ticker in gold that's actually started moving. Because for a while there, gold was running, and then we didn't have any real cheap gold tickers that had really made any, huge moves. But as you can see here, these are the last 3 days in NGD. Nice move here. Obviously, we've missed the opportunity here, but nice play on NGD. Nice play on MGD. No need for it in the summer. Okay. Heat houses with natural gas. Yeah, let's take a look at Disney. And I want to bring up a nice trade that I want to show you guys too. DIS Disney. Nice winner here, man. This is a nice little stock here that's been doing very, very well. Broke out above the 50 RSI here back in April. And with that gap up moving, it's been really strong now, man. This is really, really strong move for a stock. Very comfortable at these high RSI levels. So as you can see here, even going in here doesn't mean that you're at the top. This is a stock that's very, very comfortable with those high RSI levels. It's not a comfortable entry, right? I wouldn't lie to you. It's probably not a comfortable entry, but if we zoom in on a closer time frame, you can see that Disney still looks very, very healthy. All right, let me get those Keltner channels out there. Still looks very, very healthy, and we are very familiar with the fact that they've announced their own streaming platform, which is going to compete against the Netflix of the world. So it's going to be interesting to see when that comes out. It's supposed to be called Disney Plus or something like that. 925, you're on the air. What's up?
Sal, it's Adrian T. How are you?
Hey, Adrian, what's going on, man?
Not a whole lot. Thanks for taking my call.
No problem. What do you got for us?
I did ask you about the outlook of the economy. Thanks for providing some feedback, and I totally agree with you that it is some sort of a hated bull market.
Absolutely.
Bull market. But I was going to ask you, on the 2510 system that you have in place, what type of alerts do you have in place for individual stocks that alert you on your POS or in your system?
Well, with my system, it's the selling indicator is the 10 moving average, the higher indicator. So after 2 days underneath the 10 moving average, that's the closing trade. So
Okay.
That's really the only indicator. I mean, the only alert that you have. And there's no alert that you can set for, hey, this is the second day, but you can set on TradingView an alert that lets you know whether or not a stock is below the 10 moving average. And then that would have.
I was wondering if you have a specific tickers you're looking at, or you're scanning something, you're scanning TOS for any candles that move above your 10 or 25.
Absolutely.
Or
so
you're just looking at regular stocks on a daily basis.
Right. So
Right.
So anywhere between 5 to 10 tickers that I have on a list that I look for. One that just crossed that I brought up on the show last week was FedEx, and this is probably the most lucrative of all of them right now, being that this was a recent cross, and this ticker, this could be the beginning of something very, very interesting here in FedEx, just because it struggled for 2 or 3 months now, and it's almost time for it to really break out, and I think this could be the beginning of a breakout. Another one is SQ. This is a ticker that has been running, significantly now since June, and it's holding the 10 very, very nicely. And this is a stock that when it holds the 10, it continues to go. So this is a ticker that I'm looking at right now. Also, Lowe's Corporation. This is another one that I'm watching right now. And once it breaks above this 105 level, you can very well test 117. So individual tickers that I've been watching over the course of a period of time that I set alerts on, but
but you don't have a scanner specifically.
No scanner in place. Now, I would tell you this though: Equity Feed does have a built-in scanner for 2510. Equity Feed does have a scanner that I've worked with them to create this on, but Equity Feed, it does cost you some money, but it's not something that's like readily available. You do have to pay for it. Hello? Hey, is he still there? Hello?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I think I hit muted by mistake, but I said thank you for all the information you put out to the community, like always. Your show is great. I wish we would have this more often, but once or twice a week, upon your availability, it's good, better than nothing. So
no problem.
Thanks a lot for your support and for your knowledge. You bring that to the community. So
appreciate you, man. Appreciate you, bro.
Enjoy your night.
Thank you.
Have a great night.
Yes, indeed. Shout out to Adrian T, who sounds kind of like Bats. He threw me off for a second. Doesn't he sound like a little bit like Bats a little bit? I was a little thrown off a little bit. I was like, hold up. Is this Bats? Bad Scientist? Or maybe it's just me. I don't know why I was thinking he sounds like him. I said, why are you calling yourself Adrian for a second? But no, I mean, there's no individual, there's no scanner or anything. I don't have a scanner for sale or anything like that. Not at all. I don't have anything like that at all that I can provide to people out there. But again, the great folks over at Equity Feed have created that after I approached them about it. And we jumped all over it when it comes to what I think is two really, really good and moving averages. Two really, really good at moving averages. And everybody who's taken a look at it and plotted tickers that they really like with good volume, relatively, decent volatility, has said, hey man, if I did follow this, of course it does, you're going to see some fakes, right? You're going to see some fakes, particularly in the lower time frames below 1 hour, really below like 2 hours. You will get faked out. But on those higher time frames, if you can stomach the patience It can make you some good money. It can make you some good money. And I only wish that I had created this back in 2016, 2017, when I thought penny stocks was where, life started. But, we learn. Absolutely, Dawson. I think FedEx could, when it went off for FedEx, all right, and this is one I had been watching for a while, but when this could be something here. I'm really excited about it, but you know, you don't fall in love with these things because next thing you know, you get 3 red candles and the 10 is above you. So we'll see what happens. All right. Just found out that WD-40 has a stock. What's that ticker? AMRN. I don't know why I'm thinking WD-40 would be a company that'd be like owned by one of those like conglomerates that was really, really hot back in the 60s and 70s. It just seems like one of those companies that, would have been created by an individual and then bought out by one of these massive organizations and, just ends up being a brand that they own. Kind of like Johnson and Johnson. If you look at Johnson and Johnson, many of the brands that they have were created by individual people. And then they just, eventually sold to this company, as they matured. But boy, this is a boring stock. I mean, really boring stock. A horrible day the other day. That's why I bring that up. But this is just one of those tickers that you just don't know where this thing is going. And the business is so widespread. Pharmaceuticals, consumer cyclical. I mean, it's just they got everything in there. Everything in there. All right, medical devices. It's just everything. WDFC. Let's take a look. WDFC. Oh wow. Okay. WDFC. Okay. Wow. WD-40 Corp. Okay, so it's their individual. All right. Interesting. Nice couple days here. I don't know what the story is here. Trading at 178. Decent valuation at 2.5 billion. All right. That PE is a little interesting for a household product stock. Trading at 40 times earnings, but the paper must be really interesting, or they might have some interesting products under development there that people are excited about. All right. And for the most part, let's take a look at this chart. Ooh, actually very pretty here on the monthly. All right, it's been a slow, slow trot, but a consistent one at that. All right, a consistent one at that. And you can see here's that cross way back there. Again, those higher time frames just require the patience of a judo master. Imagine holding something like this for this many years, but besides a couple months where you dipped below some, that closing movie average, for the most part, it's done very, very well, month after month after month. You said guidance was recently raised. Okay. Yeah, doing very, very well. One interesting ticker I want to bring up to you guys is Wells Fargo. There was an interesting trade that went through. Did I post that yet on Black Box? It came out on July 3rd. It was a $45 put. The person bought $1.8 million worth of puts on the $45 put on Wells Fargo. Not saying that's something to trade. That's, of course, not the biggest trade we've seen in the world, but it was an interesting trade that caught my attention when I looked at Wells Fargo, because this is an interesting now bearish case here, and it's fighting. It's right. It's really fighting to hold some support levels here, and I think Tuesdays is a really interesting day for individuals who are looking to say, okay, what, where do I want it? What side of the trade do I want to be in after this report drops? As I said earlier in the show, traders have really shrugged off bad news in financials, but Wells Fargo is a very interesting case because this is a very damaged financial brand. So I wouldn't put it on the same level as a Citigroup or a JP Morgan. This is a very interesting case here, and it's one to watch. I think you need to be paying attention to it. The options are relatively liquid, very inexpensive, being the cost of the stock. So it's an interesting trade here, and look into it. And those are the ranges of an iron condor trade that I'm looking at. That I think I'll pull up while we're doing the show here, but it's a very interesting trade that I think you guys should pay attention to. All right. I think there's some interesting money that can be made here on Wells Fargo. All right. Yes, indeed. Yeah. Shout out to the guys who were on that highway at that time. Shout out to the guys who were on the highway at that time when that truck, that truck carrying. How much was it carrying? Over $175,000. It burst open and $175,000 spewed onto the highway. And look, I don't care what law enforcement says. If you picked up some of that money, that's, finders keepers, man. They came out and said, oh, well, you can be charged and blah, blah, blah. That's bullshit. Unless there's a law out there. I don't know. I mean, maybe there's a law out there or something like that. But I'll tell you one thing right now. If I find $10,000, $25,000, $50,000 laid out somewhere, I don't know if that's going to be returned. Well, it depends on how I'm feeling. I don't know. Shop, S-H-O-P. He said, "Fuck the cops." Yeah, man. Look, that's a lot of money. 50 grand is, is not. It can't do what it probably could do 20 years ago, but it's still a bit of money. I know a lot of people who could use $50,000. SHOP has. Boy, I feel so bad for Citron Research. You guys remember when Citron Research guy came out, Andrew Left came out and shitted on the stock? And that was at 100. The stock's up 300% from there. Yeah, that was like at 100. He came out and said that bullshit. And I've already talked about why Shop has done so well. I mean, they've revolutionized e-commerce, bringing the all of what you really need to be successful on the internet as someone who's got a product to your computer for the cost of about $24 a month. That's going to get millions of people to sign up with you, and they're just making bank, man. They're making bank. Still haven't found a way to be profitable, but they're making bank. You said you want a short Shop here. I mean, it's up there, but I mean, again, it's held very well. I mean, even on the times it's sold off, it hasn't been overly aggressive. It's given you a couple days to enjoy it, and it's gotten back to winning again. Well, X, Adrian T bring up X. X is so symbolic of what we talk about, how if you have what you say is a strong economy, you should be seeing it in the tickers that are part of a strong economy, right? So you should be seeing oil and gas stocks going higher, but instead we're seeing them making all-time lows. You should be seeing stocks that are in, steel and farming and agriculture. Farming is agriculture, but you should be seeing those stocks making all-time highs. You're actually seeing the opposite. All right. So when we talk about the stocks that are leading, they're tech. They're pure tech plays. You're not seeing all-time growth in the stocks that actually make up a nation. So when somebody tells me that the market is going higher and it's good for America, I'm not seeing it in the stocks that matter. We can pull up the Exxons, we can pull up the Monacos, and the whatever that other, we can pull up the tickers that matter. We're not seeing it. We're not seeing it. So, yeah, when I look at X, go back and read. I don't want to talk about the earnings reports because it's been over a year since I read an earnings report on X. But they're saying it in it, and you can listen to the earnings on MarketBeat.com. You actually listen to the CFO give the report, and they're talking about they're struggling. They've got to close up shops, and this was last year. Lower orders, blah, 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 cheap Chinese steel, blah, 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 lower demand, blah, blah, blah. So, I don't know. Again, not being a bear, right? You're still going to stay long on the stocks that are leading. But when I talk about, hopping on the path of death on stocks that are losing, that's an easy way to win too. That's an easy way to win too. Yeah, AutoZone has been a real interesting trade here. I've always told myself I'm going to look into what's got AutoZone trading at Amazon type prices, but I just never, you just don't have the time to look into something like this. But AutoZone has just been a monster. AutoZone's been a monster. But the business just makes sense. The business makes sense overall. FICO. All right, here's another one. God damn, bro. All right. Let's look at PSEC. Prospect Capital Corporation. Never heard of it. But hey, Kelly Rob, because I'm still thinking about your shop. That's an interesting. What would be your trade there if you were to do that? What would be your trade there? Let me see here. Well, because that IV would definitely put some money on that trade if you got it right. URG. These are uranium play. But URG has always been a relatively sketchy energy company. How legit it is, people can never really answer. So hey, look, it's kind of one of those plays. We've talked about this one in the past too. It's really sketchy. PayPal's been a monster, man. PayPal, Visa, MasterCard, all the financial plays, which is really, really interesting because PayPal doesn't necessarily release when it comes to their small business side, kind of like Square. They don't tell you the size, the average revenue that their small business customers earn. There's a paper on Seeking Alpha. It's almost a year old now on Square that talked about how, nearly 70% of the businesses in Square were like less than like $10,000. If that's true, I mean, they should know where it should, if that's true, they shouldn't be trading anywhere near as high as they are right now. That $35 billion valuation should be, not even anywhere close to that. But again, this is just another one of those unicorn stocks that, is losing a lot of money, but people are just really excited about. Someone brought up Beyond Meat. Someone brought up Beyond Meat, and I've got an awesome Beyond Meat trade. I got an awesome Beyond Meat trade that I posted on Twitter. That got quite a number of likes on. Again, for traders who don't know, you can make money on the stock market by trading within a range, right? By trading within a range. You don't actually have to guess where exactly the stock is going. You can literally create a range of where you think it's going to be and make money that way. And not even hold it until the whole trade. You can just make 50% of max profit by holding it for half the period. I think I'm going to have to do a video on it because I'm sure I'm confusing somebody right now. I can feel it. There's somebody saying, like, what the hell did he just say? But those who understand what I said, that 45 day and holding it for 20 days, that's a nice, it's a nice way to just build up an account. It's a nice way to build up an account. And you want to choose stocks that are have very low volatility, and that's why I brought up that. Wells Fargo trade. Okay. Let's see what you guys are talking about. ORLY. What's going on, Chasing Gatewood? You wait for the next pop for all-time highs and try to hit it there, nail it. Okay. Absolutely. That's exactly what I'm talking about. I'm talking about iron condors. Absolutely. That's all I'm talking about. All right. That's all I'm talking about. And I had a goddamn folder. Full of potential. Full of trades here. Just bear with me, guys. Home Depot. Yeah, here's this Home Depot iron condor trade. All right. Here's the snipe tool. All right. Bring this up here. And this is a trade that nets, if it goes right. Again, we're only looking for 50%, but $1,180 or $1,180 on. I forget what's the articles. All right. On a $1,300 investment. All right. So let me black box articles. Here's the Home Depot trade. So here's the Home Depot trade. And while you guys look at that, I'm going to try and set it up here in the back. So if Home Depot winds up being less than 217, because this is actually a pull. This is you're expecting a pullback. All right. This is where 217 to 172. All right. So you see the trade. September 20th is 71. Well, now what, 68 or 67 days out. All right. You make a $1,300 trade. You're betting $1,320 to make $1,180. All right. With five options on each side of the buy and sell. Right. So a total of 20 options that you're purchasing there. All right. You're taking in just a bit of $1,180 worth of credit. Now we're only looking to hold this trade for 50%. Now, the 50% is they're giving us about 93% probability, which, give or take could be high, but at the same time, this looks like it's running very aggressively. So I might want to give myself a little bit more room up top, all right, and not so much room at the bottom. But I'm thinking that this trade could end up being a winner if Home Depot doesn't do so hot, on their earnings release. This could be a very nice trade, and this is how it plays out. So between the purple lines, if Home Depot gets in between there, all right, at the halfway mark, or if I hold for max, then I win 1180. All right, you win the total max of 1180. All right, on your $1,300 investment. That's nearly 100% return. All right, so you see how that plays out when we talk about trading within a range instead of just going straight out with a call or straight out with a put and losing on that side of the trade. Well, this is an opportunity for where you can go out a couple days, and I don't say a couple days. I'll go out, 60, 70, 75 days is kind of where I like to be, because you get significant amount of profit and you really are able to get a wide enough range to where, it might not go your way for a week. It sometimes might not go your way for 2 weeks. But if you really are at the top and that thing starts to cool down, it gets right inside your zone. And that's where, if you got it, hell, you can walk out of there with 25% and still be happy. Right? You walk out of there with 25% of that and still be happy. Right? But typically you're looking for the high probability 50% of max value. All right? 50% of max value, which again, will be at around 33 to 34 days into the trade. All right? So I'm gonna break this down in the video, because I think that's where a lot of guys who don't know anything about condors could really learn how to do this and get themselves some decent, consistent trades without and plus it's a strategy where you don't have to check the market every damn day. All right, you don't have to check the market every damn day. All right, and while we're at all-time highs, it's an interesting place to be. All right, so here's the Wells Fargo trade. All right, here's the Wells Fargo trade. And this is an interesting trade because on an $820 investment, you net $4,180 on the max hold. So again, it goes out to September 20th. All right. And as I said, you got to be below 44.59, and then your bottom is 25.38. You take in just over $4,000 in credit. Again, you're just looking for 50%. Again, we need it to break that downside support for us to be successful in this trade. Otherwise, we lose $800, right? If we hold to max expiration. So you can wait for the confirmation, right? If you wait for the confirmation, obviously you're not going to get 4,000. It could be significantly less than that. I won't say significantly, but it could move very quickly to limit you that max return. All right. So those are the strike prices. All right. And it's 69, 70. I like being around 75 days. All right. Again, you have some guys who are saying 45, 35. You have some guys who just go out 2 weeks. I don't know how you get enough credit for just 2 weeks. All right. Give yourself some time. I like 75 days because I'm taking in quite a bit of credit. You're taking in a bit of credit. And you can just let the stock do its thing. All right. So for $800, again, you're just looking for 50% or a 35-day hold, and you just want it to get in your zone. You want it to get into your zone by 30, 35 days, and you get 50% of that 480. So you don't even have to hold till max. All right. because that's the high probability trade is the 50%. And again, this is how the trade looks, right? Between the purple lines is where we want, that's where we want to end up. But again, we need some confirmation here. We need, a sentiment to kind of change over the next couple of days. So this is why this is kind of one of those trades where a lot of guys don't love fundamentals, right? A lot of guys don't like fundamentals. You just like pure technical. But, you're going to have to do some digging on what analysts are thinking about the stock and, where business is slowing down at and what business returns they may generate in the coming earnings report. All right. How much margin do you need to do iron condor? Just what's requested. All right. Just what's requested. See there? So in this trade, your buying power is reduced by, the cost of the trade, which is $820 plus the cost of transaction, which is what was that? $51. Yeah, $51.42. All right. $51.42. So the cost of this trade was $871.42. All right. And this is Tasty Trade. And I'm using Tasty Trade because these trades I'm doing in Interactive Brokers. I don't use Tasty Trade. I have Interactive Brokers. But Tasty Trade offers this incredible, UI because I'm able to show it to you how I would put it in Interactive Brokers. All right. So this is just for me to illustrate it to you. All right. But these are trades being taken in Interactive Brokers. All right. And again, if this doesn't go my way over the course of 25 days, then okay, fine. I'll scrap it for a loss. But out of $820, you might lose $300, $400 maybe, which wasn't a bad trade because you got guys who are losing $400 in a day on an option trade. So this was a trade that you had to lose $400 over the course of 30 to 35 days. All right. So iron condors doesn't require much margin because you're protected on both sides. It's not like one side vertical where it's going to require quite a bit of a margin. All right. Let me see here. I know I got one more. Okay. And oh yes, here's the Beyond Meat trade. Here's the Beyond Meat trade. All right, and I'll set that up in the background. Now this is the Beyond Meat trade. Now, the risk reward here is, I'll be honest with about that. The Beyond, the risk reward is, you're putting up quite a bit to make, a sketchy amount, right? 2,200 to make 7. And some guys might say, I don't know about that trade, Sal, but this is a stock where the options are already expensive as hell. So unless you are really just trying to throw darts at a board, I still think the stock is really, really hot and could very well continue to go higher. All right, and where I'm placing this ticker at is 193 is the top, 193.84, basically 194, and then 111. All right, because we're looking for the overall collapse here in case this thing does pull back. All right, so you're putting up $2,200. This is a 37-day trade, now 34. So obviously these numbers will be a little bit different from when I pulled this off. All right, and basically what you're hoping is that the stock is going to stay between 193 and 111. You've risked again $23.30 to make $770. All right, to make $770. Again, the safe way is the 50%. All right, which you get within 17 days, about 14 to 17 days. All right, and here's the trade. All right, so we need to be between the purple lines for us to make money on this trade. We need to be between the purple lines. So as you can see here, it's already, try to pop but above that level, but there clearly is some hesitation to Beyond Meat above 200. but quite a bit of support below there at the 110, 111 area. Actually the low, 120s, but provided myself a little bit of space here just in case. All right, and again, we're looking for about two and a half weeks. 2.5 weeks. All right. 2.5 weeks. All right. Am I confusing anyone, or should I keep going? I don't want to lose you. I don't want to be boring you now. I'm just kind of again throwing out some ideas about when you are at all-time highs and the market is moving up slowly, and you're an option trader. And that's why I named the show Theta Burn, because you can buy these calls, and yes, it may eventually come in the money, but you're losing a significant amount of value as the stock tries to work its way up to your level. So having a non-directional trading strategy is a way for you to be able to make money while these stocks continue to do their thing. All right. All right. So let me take a look here, and I'll put up maybe one or two more, and then we'll bounce out of here. All right. Here's a Walmart trade. All right. Here's Walmart trade. All right. We pulled up Walmart earlier. So this is a Walmart trade. $1,280 trade to make $720 on your investment. All right. And again, this is a ticker you're looking to stay between 119.36 and 106. All right. So, and you're looking to stay in this trade for about 3 weeks. All right, so about 3 weeks. So this is going to require me to kind of do some adjusting here on the trade. So 119, we're way up there. 119, and then 106. All right. So here's Walmart. All right. Again, been a consistent winner, and this is a trade that, I don't know. I have a feeling it might actually blow right past your 119. All right. Absolutely, Cali Rob. All right. So here's the Walmart trade. Has to be again above below 119 and above 106. Again, this is the weekly chart. So you got only, 3 or 4 weeks of real support, or not even support, but of momentum behind you. And you're hoping that those last 2.5, 3 weeks could act as support if things turn around. But Walmart's been such a monster. The trade just looked really, really interesting. But here's Walmart again. I had to create some space up there just because there wasn't anything else up there. Let me reset this chart so you guys can see. I can't even show you where that top is because it's just way up there. But there was clearly how we know that in trading, resistance tends to turn around and become support. So you're saying, okay, well, can we stay up here for 2.5 weeks? Well, if the market continues to do what we're doing, I don't see why Walmart can't stay above 106. All right, which is, almost $8 from where we are right now. All right. Okay. Yes, indeed. All right. So let's go back to what you guys are looking at. I don't want to make this the Iron Condor show. All right. I don't want to put anybody to sleep here. So Cost has been on the tear lately. Okay, all right, let's take a look at that. So I bring up cost. Yeah, cost is another one. This is another, awesome ticker, just like Walmart, right? I mean, basically looks just like Walmart. Costco and Walmart, they look very, very similar. Cost obviously probably, less volatility on cost. Well, maybe a little bit more actually on cost because there's some drastic sell-offs here, but the same kind of overextension that we see in Walmart over the last 5 to 6 weeks, where you have that long candlestick climbing, and as it's sitting on its back as it climbs higher. I forgot. I think this is actually the there's a pattern here, but I can't remember the name for it. Somebody in the chat room might be able to break it for me. All right. Microsoft is out this week as well. Okay. Absolutely, Jason Gatewood. That's why, for example, when I brought up that Wells Fargo trade, you could set that up just like that, where it's in between all of that action. All right. This is a very low volatility. We bring that back up here. Again, you could have set that trade up to be up here, right? But obviously, as you can see here, it's trying to break below support here, and it could this could double bottom up higher. But we'll have to figure out, because you got a very important date coming up on Tuesday. So again, traders will have to follow through on that side of the trade as well. Okay. EGO. And by the way, these gold tickers have options too. They're not crazy liquid, but if you can get them at a great price, it might be it would be better than the stock, to be honest with you. I don't know if EGO is one of those, but anybody who's sitting in like 4 calls in this or whatever, I don't know where their calls are at or where they start. But this is a monster play if they have them. If this keeps running, and you get into some double digits or high teens, a call option at 4 or 5 would be a monster return. You think Tasty Trades instruction video threw you off on how to understanding options? Yeah, they a lot of people who try to make videos on options, and I did. I got a couple of instructional videos on them, on option trading, but mostly naked options, just so straight call or straight put. But Iron Condor is a really nice trade to make money when when you just feel like you're just not good enough to decide which way, and that's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing to say I don't know. That's what trading has taught me. It's not bad to say I don't know. And when you put on an Iron Condor, that's basically what you're saying. You're saying I don't know where the stock is going to be, but I can somewhat come up with the range of where I feel it might end up. And you can make money coming up with range guesses about ranges, And I can tell you, right, and then as I said earlier, it's less stressful, less stressful. All right. But for those of you guys who need your daily, you just got to get in there every day and make a trade, then again, of course, you got the black box, and then you got, of course, whatever it is you do to find opportunities to trade intraday. But you can have something on the side where it can complement your intraday, trading setups with this thing that, can slowly use Theta, in your best interest to generate a nice return for you over the course of a period of time. All right. Because again, you don't need a lot of capital. I showed you some trades here, $1,000 trades, $1,000 trades, $800 trades. There are a lot of, and there's some much cheaper trades we can show you as well too. that I don't have time to set up for now, but they're out there. They're definitely out there. All right. There's a Macy's trade. 740 to make 260. Let me see this one. Okay, here's this one's an interesting one. All right. This is an interesting one here. This is Cisco. All right. So this is a Cisco trade. All right, and this is a short bet, and you're looking for 58.22 and then 49.78. All right, and this one thought about it, but I didn't actually end up pulling the trigger on this one. But the RSI just tells me this could end up, coming back. But it looks like it might bull right through this. Here's the trade, 45 days. Again, 58.22 is the high, 49. And let's set up the chart. So you're risking 840 to make 660. I'm risking 840 to make 660. All right, and here's the trade. And as you can see, this thing looks like it's about to run right through your top layer here on the weekly. Still looks very, very, very strong. So looking for, a little bit more assurance here, but this looks like it's about to bull right through that top. All right. These candlesticks look way too strong. All right. Here's the monthly. All right. And what you hope for is something like this. Right, where you get that, set up, and then you're like, okay, this is the top, and you hope to see a month like this, because you get a month like that, you're in the money, you're making max here. You get a month like that, you're making max. So 2 months straight gains, you're saying, okay, well, will 3 be a charm? Is this going to close above that? And even if we do close above it, would we be above that 22, 23 days from now? What's great about Iron Condor is that, the last day, obviously you never want to do this, but the last day it could climb below that 58.33 level, and then you've made max. Obviously you're not going to want to do that, but that's definitely how the system works. All right. That's definitely how the system works. But yeah, this looks like it clearly could blow through this. So definitely not a trade that I would jump into right away, because you definitely need some more work on that top level. All right. You said, what's your go-to trade? Well, Iron Condors have been something I've been trading here for, almost 2 years. This isn't new. We've done these Iron Condor trades here for over 2 years. So Iron Condors, weekly trades on the 25-10 system, right? Straight call, or straight put. I love buying puts. Love buying puts, because the money comes in much faster than anything else. I don't care what anybody says. A put that goes your way brings in the money faster than anything else. All right, I got some Wayfarers puts. All right, that's my favorite. Wayfair is one right now. Would never do an Iron Condor on something like this, because this could come down at any day. So there's no, I don't have a go-to. I'm just trying to make some money wherever I can find it. Safely and responsibly. All right. Safely and responsibly, because I'm trying to stay in the game for as long as possible, until all my hair is white. I want to still be in here trading. So we're not doing no, all in type of trades. We're not doing no balls to the wall trades, nothing like that. We're just trying to, Ichiro this shit. For those of you guys who watch baseball, we want to be a consistent hitter. We want to be known as a guy who can, put bodies on the plate. McDonald's is a great candidate for iron condors. You eat the hell. Yeah. I mean, McDonald's has been, and not only that, but, selling puts, right? For example, we've talked about here in the past how, Warren Buffett made a lot of his money, his early money before, he started buying conglomerates, selling put options on insurance companies, all right? Yeah, so, when you look at McDonald's, as you can see here over the last several months, this is what, 7 months here? You selling puts here every month you're higher. You're selling, the closed month before. Looks, it's been making good money. You've been making really, really good money doing that. And you haven't had a losing month selling the closing price of the month you're going out of, So McDonald's has been an incredible star. We talked about McDonald's here and why, even with lower same-store sales, they've been doing incredibly well. They've got a decent PE, which is, pretty high for a burger place, but still, they've been doing really good out in the Middle East. And that's been really padding the numbers because U.S. same-store sales are flat. So they've branched out to an international strategy and it's been working to pad the tape for them. It's been doing good. Yeah. Yeah, I have a Macy's trade. Now, with Macy's, I think the Iron Condor actually looks really good here. Obviously, if you can go out with an option, a leap option, like a year or two from now, actually probably works even better just because you understand that there's going to be news over the course of 12 or 24 months where this could gap down or, it could very much look like a stamps.com or something like that. Because nobody's going to come in to save Macy's, right? We know that. Kind of like GameStop. You just know nobody's going to come here to save this company. So even if it sells lower, you can continue to take the short side of the trade. You're not going to wake up one day and say, oh, so-and-so came in and bought GameStop at $10 a share. Now you're getting your ass handed to you. Macy's is going to be a loser. It's not going to be here, when most of us in here are older, because that's just the way of things. But so far, these last 2 months has been hanging pretty nicely here over the last 2 months, just kind of fighting to survive here as traders try to, is all the selling gone? Who knows? Time will tell. Could this be another snap? I doubt it. I doubt it. But yes, this could set up for an Iron Condor trade. And let me take a look at that. I think I actually have one saved somewhere that I looked at. And again, you can create folders in your computer of potential trades you want to take, right? And then, watch them for a day or two. And if you get, that feeling like, okay, this looks right, then you replicate that trade, with real money. Do that all the time. You see an option you like, particularly sometimes, like I said, on Black Box, I'll see an option that I really like. And at that particular moment, I'm just not feeling it. But I'll follow it for a day or 2 or 2 days or 3 days. And it starts going in a good direction. I'm like, okay, wow, I might jump onto this. All right. I might jump onto this. All right. So let me put this trade together for you here. All right. let's do that. Tell me what you guys think about this trade. All right. So this is Macy's, August 23rd, 45 days out. 23.63, and your bottom is 16.87. All right, so let's go to the weekly, zoom in a little bit. I think probably need some more upside protection here. Where is that? 23.63. 23.63. All right, because what we're looking for is a rejection of the 60 moving average. 23.63 with your bottom at 16.87. Ooh, got way too much bottom. I think way too much bottom. It's kind of impromptu, but way too much bottom. 16.87. All right, 16.87. So what you're thinking here is a possible retest. All right, so you're risking 740 to make 260, and the return isn't, again, too much bottom. You'd make that return a lot more generous, bringing that bottom up a little bit more. All right, way too generous at the bottom. I admit that on this impromptu, but here's how the trade looks. So you would hold this you'd hold this for max, being that win is relatively small. Again, I would probably move this up to maybe even 18. See, that's why. Something on Macy's. I don't know if I'd even want to do this. I'd rather just do a leap option. Yeah, stick to my first thought and do a leap, just because there's just not enough meat on this bone to do something like this. All right, but that's what this trade sets up as. It might actually end up being a winner. That's why I'm going to leave. I'm going to leave that on here. So if we come back, next show, we'll talk about where we'll see where it's at, because I actually want to see where this ends up. This is going to be interesting to watch. All right, I'm going to leave these lines on these tickers we brought up today, because you guys will be able to see now over the course of time how you make money doing this as you guys watch my show. All right. Yeah, McDonald's is a great candidate to that. I just got a whole bunch of good ideas, man. This could be just a whole series on my channel. Just doing these little trades. And again, you can do condor trades for, one contract. All the contracts I'm putting up are like 5, 10, 20. So you can do them for one contract on each side, and it'll be like $200, $300. Obviously, your max profit isn't much. It's going to be only a couple $100 too, but you don't need a lot of money to do an iron condor trade. You can do iron condor trades for $200, but it'd be a great idea for a little series on my channel. All right. So you guys alive out there? I hope I'm not putting anybody to sleep here. I'm not even sure. I'm just running my mouth. All right. So again, let me just look at the earnings calendar for us this coming week. Again, Citigroup tomorrow. That's really the only thing that's leading us out there. And then Tuesday is really what I'm really excited about, because we got, the kings and queens of financials. J.P. Morgan, Goldman Sachs, Wells Fargo. You got Domino's Pizza as well. That's a pizza place. But you got Charles Schwab, First Republic Bank. You got quite a few financials coming out on Tuesday. But obviously, I'm going to be watching Wells Fargo, as I just told you guys. It's going to be an interesting company to look at over the course of the week. Bank of America on Wednesday. So there's going to be some interesting tickers, man. It's going to be really interesting to play that. This is always an exciting time of the year when earnings season comes upon us, because it's really a gambler's you always have a gambler's chance at really blowing it out the water and making quite a bit of money if you get it right. All right, that's why you never want to risk too much. But it's really nice to be right. It's really nice to be right. Yeah, Snapchat, July 23rd. Okay, that's going to be huge for them. Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter. If they blow those things out the water, I mean, the returns are really, really nice on those options. Now you hate the fact that they sell off as they open, but I mean, at the open, if you were a buyer, you can very well, sell into that energy for a nice return. You said you're short GME. It's your blockbuster play. It might have sold for a few years, might hold for a few years, but we all know. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. We talked about GameStop here extensively, and 2 days later we saw what happened. So GameStop, yeah, it's kapoosh for GameStop. Absolutely. Appreciate you, Kenny Dunn, Adrian T. With this market like this higher, yeah, absolutely, and again, you can do this to the upside, right? I mean, we showed you, that Walmart trade that I gave myself a lot of upside room because I think that's, a stock that's going to run higher because they figured out e-commerce, they figured out retail to not lose to e-commerce with their kind of grocery pickup selection. So that's a stock that I think is going to hold, those 100s or 106 rather for the next couple of weeks, and I think that's a winner. Here's Walmart. I think it's gonna be up there for a while, even if it relaxes a little bit, right? Even if it relaxes a little bit, I think you're still gonna be up there. And I'd love to see Walmart just go sideways here. I don't care, let it go sideways. If it wants, just don't go below 106. All right, but if it does, shit happens, then you close your trade and you try something else. All right, close your trade and try something else. But then you know what your max potential to lose is, because on an iron condor trade, what you risk is your max potential loss. All right, what you risk is your max potential loss. So I'm going to be doing. This is a great idea to do. Great idea to do. And I know the people at Black Box, they hate when I do these videos like this, but not everybody wants to sit there in the morning and wait for the system to tell them something. And you don't want to depend on the system. You know what I mean? And you don't want to just depend on this algo thing to spit at you trades, which is great because, right, sometimes it hits it out of the park like it did on Friday. 560% return on Facebook. All right. For those of you guys who didn't see that, that was an incredible day. All right. Here was Facebook. I mean, it was pretty much nothing, and then the algo threw out a trade. It threw out a trade at 12 something, about 12:02. It got to 50% around here, and we're like, God damn, it's late as fuck. What's going to happen here? And then it just went absolutely insane into the close. And I don't know how this is going to open up. It's probably going to end up gapping down. And like many other traders, I'm in here waiting to see what's going to happen tomorrow. If this gain is going to hold, or I'm going to have to be, selling for a little less than what we closed at. We'll see. All right. But you don't want to be dependent on that, man. You don't want to be 40 years old depending on some system that, that might not even be there. Shit. System could disappear tomorrow. Who knows? All right. So I appreciate you guys joining me, man. I know this is, again, I just kind of jumped out of nowhere to do this. And really great information. A lot of tickers we talked about today. The market's still going up, man. Keep staying long, man. For those guys who are staying long, you're winning. You're doing well. You're winning. Market's going higher. Whatever moving average you're using, stay with it. Look at this, man. This is a great week. Let's do it weekly. All right, that was a great week last week. That was a really good week if you bought that option, on Monday, you ended up with a really nice smile on your face by Friday. You ended up with a really nice smile on your face, and for the last 7 weeks here, you've had two pretty much sideways weeks, but for the most part, you've been pretty well over the course of last couple of weeks here on the market. All right, so you can definitely pat yourself in the back. All right, those of you guys who are looking at tickers to trade, find some consistency on those higher time frames that you've got some multiple time frame support for a ticker that's moving in the right direction. These higher time frames will show you more data that you need to really decide, hey, am I really making a trade that's has the potential to go in my favor. Here's Cisco, and we brought up that Cisco earlier trade, and I'm going to leave this up here. I'm going to leave that up here and see what happens. It could very well blow through that. All right, it's been resistance before or close to it. All right, it looks like it's just definitely building to pop out of there. All right, we'll see. Should we go? Yeah. I'll be back here. I'll be back here Wednesday. I'll be back here Wednesday. What if the Fed don't cut rates? Well, they said they were going to cut in June. It didn't happen in June, and here we are in July, and we're going higher. And so what if it doesn't happen in July? The market doesn't care, man. The market does not care. We're going higher. There's a lot of money out there still. They say they're going to act accordingly. They didn't promise cuts in July, but there's a high probability for a cut in July. And we just have to trade the chart, man. That's at the end of the day. We just have to trade the chart. But again, for those stocks that are winning, there are a lot of stocks that are losing. And you can create trades around stocks that are losing money and still be profitable, right? And still be a profitable trader. Creating trades around stocks that are losing money. All right, here's a nice little low volatility bank as well, SunTrust, that I looked at too. This one looks dead between 57 and 67. All right. But there are quite a few of those out there. Let me see. Somebody brought up Coke. Nah, definitely not. Visa. That's a monster. All right. And some of these stocks, they're just way too aggressive to create, something like an SQ. This is just, obviously, this is just way too aggressive. I mean, this is 74 to 82. That's a $9 move over the course of 1 week. You put a condor around there, you're just blowing the top out of that thing. So some tickers are just way too volatile to play with. All right, but then some of them are just so lucrative, you can't help but want to take the trade. All right, here's Beyond Meat. All right, here's Beyond Meat Weekly. Just keep me in here. I want the $770. Just keep me in between there. All right, for 17 days. We'll see what happens. All right. AXASM. Killer 1 to 20. Yeah. I remember pulling this up a couple weeks ago. I didn't think it'd last this long, but yeah, this has been a monster trade. Somebody's making billions on it. All right, somebody's made millions on it. All right, but yeah, left you in the dust here. AXSM, monster trade since January. Monster trade since January. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. All right, so I really hope you guys are making some money out here in this game. Again, you don't have to guess the direction. There are non-directional ways to trade. There's so many ways for you to make money in the market. And again, it's not about making $5,000 a day. It's just really about being in the green as much as you can over the course of a period of time. Because God willing, we're going to be doing this 35, 40 years from now, right? And every dollar you make right now can go into an account that can help it be what you want it to be, down the road. All right. So, again, ladies and gentlemen, so grateful for you watching. I got to give people some more heads up about these, because people get mad at me like, oh man, I didn't know you went live. Shit. But I did. All right. And I should have talked about more of this FedEx trade, but man, whew. You just don't know, because you want to just buy straight up call, but then that 25 is up there just like a barrier. We'll see. Yes, absolutely, Desert Edge. Even sideways, man. Even sideways. All right. Got to put more content out. Desert Edge, appreciate you, bro. K-Mac15, thank you. Adrian T, thank you, bro. Will do, bro. Thank you so much for calling as well. Who else? Cristiano fan, appreciate you, man. Jason Gatewood. HM, no OTC potential winners. I haven't seen anything on the OTC market right now this last week. I do. What is that? Medicine Man? What's that ticker? Medicine Man or something like that I saw? MDCL. This looks pretty interesting. You're going to have to do some research on it, but they've got some really interesting things that they're doing on MDCL. This could get up there. But I haven't seen an OTC stock that I can really vouch for, man. I just haven't seen it. Austral Gray, appreciate you, bro. Thank you, man. Kenny Dutton, Cali Rod, appreciate you, bro. Thank you, man. Yes, indeed. Who else in here? 3 Hooks. Ryan Gets It. Henri. Bat Scientist wanted me to do this thing where it's like, are you guys doing that thing? I thought I'd start Monday, but I don't know if I want to do it, where you take black and white pictures, no people in it, just take a black and white picture and post it on your social media. He tagged me for me to do it, and that's like 2 days ago, and I just never jumped in on it. So Bats, don't take it personally or anything. I just haven't, because that girl Airplane Jane started it, and I don't like Airplane Jane. What's his name? Guru Leaks told me that she used to sell dildos and shit like that. So I don't really want to be associated with Airplane Jane. I'm trying to do some things, and I ain't really trying to be like associated with somebody who used to sell dildos and stuff like that. I'm black. I can't take those risks. Thank you, Miss Jameson. I appreciate you. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I appreciate you. All right, guys. That's it, man. I'm excited about the market opening up in a couple hours. I'm going to take some rest, and I will see you guys back here on Wednesday. Take care. Trade well.